everyone, welcome to the Charlene Show. I am your host, Charlene. As you know, we are doing a 16 days of activism against gender-based violence special, where we are inviting experts, survivors, and people working in the field to tell us about gender-based violence from their point of view in their line of work. Today, I'm joined by Apostle Itai Hove, who is the founder of El Shaddai Ministries International. She's an avid writer who has authored over 30 inspirational books and devotional books. She's a multi-award winner, a life coach and a counselor, and I would say a fundi and a woman who wears many hats. Apostle, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm privileged to be here.
Thank you. We are glad that you found time to join us and be with us as we discuss the issue of gender-based violence. I am aware that we find gender-based violence even in the church now, something that I think was not very rampant. So, I understand that there could be a relationship between gender-based violence and gender equality. So I don't know, is there any relationship between religion and gender equality?
Gender equality is clear in the Word of God. When God created men, male and female, He created them equal. And He made sure that He spoke to them together in Genesis chapter 1 and said, "Go ye and dominate the earth, both of you, not one." And so when we look at Galatians chapter 3 from verse 27 to 28, the Bible says there's no slave, there's no free. There's no Greek, there's no Jew. There's no male, there's no female. That was Paul talking to the Galatians. So we actually see that definitely it was mentioned not only in the Old Testament, but also in the New Testament after Jesus.
Okay, so this means that when we talk about gender equality in the church, the men and women are the same.
They are equal.
Okay, so now in this day and age, we now have a rise in women's rights activism. How is the church handling issues of women's rights?
There's not much of women's rights in the church, but we are working very closely with that in the fact that there are now women bishops, there are now women pastors, there are now women who are doing what men used to do in the church, that women were not allowed to do before. So we can take it from the point of view of women's rights, that they now have rights to also wear hats that they were not able to wear before. Okay. So we see that there is a lot more of that in the Pentecostal churches and also now bit by bit in the mainline churches. Because the mainline churches were a little bit behind.
Okay, wow, wonderful. So now let's come back to the church as well with regards to issues to do with gender-based violence. Have you come across gender-based violence within your church? And if yes, how have you handled cases?
I like the question that says within your church, because I deal with issues from my church and also from the interdenominational, from many churches, because I also do a lot of counseling of people who come from different churches and they come for counseling in my office. So I've actually seen this a lot in the Christian fraternity as a whole. And yes, we have come across some of them. And it's not only the female that are struggling, it's also the male. Sometimes the male come and they start talking about it and they do not want it to be publicized because they feel embarrassed to talk about it. There was a gentleman who was talking about him being suppressed at work by a woman because the woman is now in a big position. She's now a manager and she's saying we've suffered a lot under male rule. Now I'm also a woman and you are under me, you're my subordinate. So you have to do what I tell you to do. And so it is now reversing. The women are also now violating the male. Instead of what we normally accustomed to just see the women as the ones who are suffering because of the ego, the male ego that says I'm better than you or I'm more human than you are.
Yes, yes. And that brings me to the issue of divorce. Now, the Bible is against divorce. Now, do you think divorce should be or can be a remedy for gender-based violence?
Yes, it has been in many cases, even in the pastors or in the leaders of the church. because the Bible doesn't completely say no to divorce. The Bible talks about God hating divorce. He hates it. He doesn't like it because He's created male and female to live together in harmony. And then when we go to the book of Matthew, you know, we start realizing chapter 12 that Jesus talks about divorce when He's being asked about divorce. And He says, you know what, because of the hardness of the heart, then the certificate of divorce was issued. And then we go again to 1 Corinthians chapter 7 from verse 1 to 15. But if we look at 10 to 15, you see Paul actually says the one who does not want to conform to the marriage set up must leave. And when he leaves, the other one is free to stay alone. So you can start seeing the relaxation in the Bible. There are some areas where it's relaxed. It's not hard and fast. That divorce is definitely not allowed. You are not going to go to hell because you divorced. But God does not like divorce.
Wow, okay. I think a lot of women out there we're searching for that answer, because most women are afraid of leaving the abuser because they don't want the connotation that they have been divorced.
It actually says even if you divorce, you must not get married again. And then in 1 Corinthians 7 it says, then the one who has been left is free now. She is no longer bound, which means she can now go ahead and get married. So those are things that people have to theologically look at. And if you're in that situation, you need to be able to go and find somebody else who can help you, who is probably a senior or somebody who understands the Bible a bit more than you. Then you can be able to be comforted.
Oh, wow. I see a topic for another day, is that we really need to look at. So then what happens when the shepherd is the abuser?
When the shepherd is an abuser, it's very difficult, because most of the times the ladies or the wife cannot be able to talk to anybody about it in the church. So what I actually suggest is that the woman finds somebody else who is a counselor, who is outside that particular church, and then meets with them. We always say that the pastor must be pastored. So if a pastor is pastored, then this being abused, either the male or the female who is being abused, must find that pastor and then be able to talk to them outside that particular congregation.
Okay, and continuing with that relief, what is the church doing to help abused women?
Abused women are being sat down and talked to and counseled, and then probably referred to some other places like SASA or any legal, when it's really bad, you're sent to legal places where they can be helped by other legal people who can be able to help them deal with those things. But also we have started something that is very important in my church, which is called couples seminars, where we meet with couples and we discuss with them. And then we separate them. We take the women on their own, we take the male on their own. And most of the time that's where we get the abusers, because they can now freely talk about it when others have started talking. And then you start seeing that this person is being abused, and then you can help them separately from the male. So those couples seminars are very helpful and very therapeutic. So with that, and then the recommendation to go and see other organizations that are very helpful is also helping the women from the abusers.
Okay, and do abusers change?
Abusers normally don't change. You can suppress them. You can do something to make them feel that they can hide a little bit for a while, and then from there they'll pick it up again, especially when they start feeling comfortable again and trusted, because they bank on trust and manipulation. If you trust them and you think everything is now okay, they start again bit by bit. They don't start bang and start beating you that day. They start manipulating you emotionally. They start manipulating you financially, telephonically, verbally, and all that. And then as they gain mileage, they start again. And then boom, the woman has got an eye that is blue, or a broken rib or something like that. And then sometimes death, they'll just be thrown against the wall and they'll die. There's one time that I had to go to a home where a woman was being beaten, and her thighs were all red, and the whole body was red, and the man did not want anybody to know that he was beating his wife. He was shouting love sounds. So the next door people thought, oh, these people are happy, they are excited. And then he was now rushing to go and throw this woman into a gonyet, on the road. That's when we arrived. Wow. Somebody had called us. We had noticed that this woman was being abused. And we arrived just in time to rescue this woman. The couple of years, of course, divorced, and eventually they had 3 children. It's said that the neighbors always thought they were playing. They didn't realize that this man was really hurting this woman. When she went to hospital, all her thighs had clots, and she was badly damaged. One of her legs cannot even walk properly now.
Oh, wow. So it's that bad sometimes for most women. It's that bad.
Yes.
Why do women stay? Why do they go and come back?
It's because of what our society is like. We've got a very patriarchal kind of society, which also looks at a woman with a different eye when you're either divorced or widowed. And they don't respect divorced women. And there's just that stereotyping when you have been married and you are now divorced, that every woman, when they are married, they try so hard to stay in their marriage so that they'll not be stigmatized. So that stigma and also that stereotype and that society rejection that happens, there are a lot of people who say, oh, a widowed person is better than a divorced woman, because that divorced woman wants to steal other men's husbands. And when they look at you like that, they are saying at church you are even rejected. You go to a certain meeting or organization, or you're just visiting, they reject you. Even your own relatives start rejecting you. So that's what causes these women to say, I will just stay around for my children and for the sake of the society.
So society is playing a major role in perpetuating gender-based violence by doing all of this.
Yes.
So let me take you back a bit. We talked about when the shepherd is abusive. What are some of the signs that women can look out for? Yes, with regards to abusive shepherds.
In the flock. And this shepherd is the one who is abusing the flock. Yes. That becomes a very difficult issue.
What are some of the signs, some telltale signs that women out there can look out for?
And it's not only women, it's actually men and women. Because the shepherd is shepherding the male and female. And then you start realizing the pastor threatens you if you don't pay tithe. Threatens you when you don't give maybe a birthday presents. They start showing a certain way of manipulating you, that if you don't do this, you get a bad luck. If you don't honor me in this way, this is what is going to happen to you. That becomes manipulation, and that becomes abusive. So some of those signs, especially when it comes to being told, if you don't do it to me, then this will happen to you. That's not true. When we are worshiping, we're worshiping God. We are not worshiping people. Sometimes we fail. We cannot do everything for the pastor. But when that becomes a language, then it becomes a problem. That becomes manipulation.
Okay. Wow. And some warning signs with regards to husbands and wives. Some warning signs that your partner is abusive. Maybe, I think let's look at boyfriend and girlfriend before even marriage. What are some warning signs that a man or a woman or a man should look out for before marriage? Yes.
I've always told girls that whatever a man does when you are still single and you are not yet married, they'll do it 10 times more when you are now married. Okay. Sometimes he just claps you, when you're talking and he's angry with you. And you say, well, it was because he was angry with me, he loves me. Or he stops you from walking or associating with certain type of friends. Or he doesn't like Judith, your friend, because probably Judith is observed and seen that there's something wrong with this guy. And because of that, this guy is now saying, don't talk to Judith, or I don't like you walking with so and so. Or, is your auntie, I think your auntie is too strict. He's now removing you from the people that you are familiar with, or the people that you love very much. He now pulls you away a little bit by bit from them, and says negative things about those people. And then probably just picking your phone and looking through everything and asks you, who is John, who is Mary, who is this? All those things are signs that will tell you that this person is abusive. So you need to be very careful how a person has to give you space. A person has to give you respect and honor, even when you're still boyfriend and girlfriend, and then be able to allow your rights. You know, you've got your privacy, and he has to allow you that privacy. But when that happens, all those things that I've just mentioned, you start hearing or seeing those telltale signs. And many times when girls are going out with boys, they don't listen to their friends and relatives. Some friends and relatives will know and they will tell you. But because of love, which is said to be blind, it only opens its eyes when you are married.
Yes.
It can be something that will stop you from seeing and noticing the telltale signs.
Oh, wow. Wow. No, those are powerful words. I hope our young women out there are listening and taking heed. I don't know if you have any advice to church leaders with regards to gender-based violence.
I would like to say to church leaders, it is important for each and every one of us to be mindful of gender-based violence and also be able to actively and intentionally do something about it in our churches. And also be warned that us as church leaders, we must also be careful how we treat our flock, because it can actually borderline being abusive. So I would like to just encourage church leaders to have as many meetings with the youth and the couples to try and help and try and be able to watch out for this gender-based violence. And also that it's not only women that are being abused, also the men are being abused.
And any message to men and women out there who are currently victims of gender-based violence, but they are stuck, they don't know what to do?
What I can encourage the male and female who are struggling with gender-based violence is to continue to build up their self-esteem and to continue to know that they are loved by God and they are special. But what they need to know is that there's nobody who owns them. Nobody owns them. They need to know that they are owned by God. So they must remove themselves from that place of abuse and know that if they walk out on time, they'll save their lives and they can be able to take care of their children.
To Apostle Patience Itai Hove, the founder of El Shaddai Ministries International, and she was telling us about the side with regards to religion and gender-based violence. Now, as we are seeing lately, the message is the same. If you are a victim of gender-based violence, you should pick up yourself and run away from the situation. There are many organizations out there which are there to help. There are many churches out there, including Apostle Patience Itai Hove, who is a counselor. Can you tell us a bit more about your counseling ministry at El Shaddai before you leave us?
Yes, we meet with people from all walks of life, from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock every day, Monday to Friday, in our offices. And you don't have to make an appointment. You just need to come and we can be able to talk to you from any denomination, from any walk of life. We can be able to talk to you. Whatever the situation is, we can refer you if we are not in that jurisdiction.
Thank you so much. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We've been discussing gender-based violence and the church. Now, thank you, Apostle, for giving us details of men and women who might want to come and receive help. It's important, if you're a victim of gender-based violence, to seek help. Seek help for yourself, seek help for your dignity, seek help for your self-esteem, seek help for your children, seek help for your well-being. Run away from the abuser. Seek help is the message that we are going to continue preaching.